Oh, hello again, everyone. Welcome back, and thanks for visiting once again. And you've joined us in the middle of the summer, and there's no cricket this afternoon because the rain came down, and that was unfortunate. But there we are. That's what happens sometimes. So I've taken the opportunity to sit at the modelling desk, which I haven't had a chance to do for a little while. So if you've been waiting with bated breath, all agog for me to come along, well, maybe you've been half agog, perhaps. Then here I am back again, and we're returning to the Humvee, the M1240 A1 MRAP. Anyway, big buggery truck. Let's call it that, which is in 1/48 scale. I've had some adventures with it, and as you can see here, particularly there, I've been doing some building, and what I've done with this is I've assembled as many of the lower chassis parts as I can, got them together, and applied a coat of primer to it. Not all the primer has gone in the places where it ought to have done, as you can see just here, therefore of course I'm going to have to give it another quick squirt of primer, and I'll do it when I do the rest of this. But that's gone together very nicely actually, and as you would expect with Ryefield model kits, these things go together really pretty easily. It's quite straightforward. The only thing that I think is going to be a minor issue is the fact that this little tube here, let's get my little poker out, this little tube here, you can't quite see it just there, which should go into a some sort of, I think it's a plenum chamber anyway, or something like that, is a little bit offline, so I can sort of show you that. Really, you can have a little look at this for yourself. That sits onto there like that, and this little tube here should fit into there, or should sit there. That little tube there should sit there, but it doesn't, and that's because I didn't test fit it and I didn't think about this enough. So my bad, as they say in all the best books, so there we are. But let's zero that back out again to yeah, that'll do us, won't it? I would suspect. But in general, as I say, these things have gone together particularly well. It's not been difficult at all. There's some fiddly parts. You have to look out for this section at the front here, with this where the radiator grill is, and you've got to get the order in which these parts fit correct. Otherwise, you'll find that this bit, it gets in the way of that bit, and God only knows. So I've had to carve out some pieces here in order to get that in. But that shouldn't be too much of an issue because this fits over the top of that, and that fits over the top of that, so you won't see too much of it. And because this is a bit out, I'm going to have to do this with the bonnet shut, so we're not going to see very much of what's in there. So that shouldn't be too much of an issue. So this was pretty straightforward and easy to do, I have to say. You know, there are no real surprises here. The bits fit together really well, to be honest with you. You know, they're dead simple. What I have done is I've left these seats out, which are the rear seats, so that I can paint properly into these areas here. Otherwise you're going to have a bit of a problem actually getting any paint into these areas here, and you'll end up seeing bits of buff plastic, which isn't really the best move in my view. So we'll just be careful with that, and then we can detail it in afterwards. There'll be some decals to put in here and so on and so forth. We'll have to be very careful with this little sort of tubular tweaker here, which looks a bit like a shower head but probably isn't. In fact, almost certainly isn't, but what it is exactly I couldn't really say, to be honest, but there we are. I don't know enough about this little truck, so we'll carry on today because I've got up to step 11 and completed that bit there. Got some bits that I've previously prepared so we can do some doorage here. And the doors go on this, so we'll probably prepare that at some stage. And so I suspect that what we might do is get ourselves through section A5 and A6, and then to section 12 we might be able to do one or two things here, put some of these parts on. But let's have at it, shall we, in that direct sense. So what I have done as well is to actually mask off these window glasses. Now it's worthwhile knowing that these window glasses, if I can get right in there, maybe you can see this, they're angular. They're not at right angles to the flat surface, so they have to go in a certain way, so you have to make sure you get that bit right. But if you do get them right, they should slip, as you can see here, straight in. If you get them the wrong way round, then they don't come out actually. There you go. If you do get them the wrong way round, let's do it with the other one, shall we? If you do, well, you can't actually do that actually, as it goes, but if you get them the wrong way round, they don't fit in properly, and they stand proud. So I'm a bit concerned, if I'm honest, with the masking that we'll have to do of this, and that makes my choice of whether to paint and then put these in. I think, looking at it, it may be a good idea to paint these and paint these doors with these glasses out and then put them in a bit later on. That might be the best move, but I thought I might put them in like this, but I think what will happen is the masking tape will be trapped and I may get wickage of glue across the masking tape, so I'm a bit concerned about that. Don't quite know what the best thing to do there is, to be honest with you. I'd like to put them in because then it's kind of easier, but hard to know what the best move is to make. I'll just jog the camera there. So let's have a quick look at this. I think we ought to be okay with putting them in. Let's zero out again a little bit. There we go, we can see that there. And then just a little tiny dab of glue in the corners there might just about do it. Yeah, I think we'll go with that. Look, if it's a mistake, it's a mistake, and that's just the way it goes, isn't it? I know some of you out there in modelling land will probably say, "No, Zinners, old chap, you're making a mistake there." I'm going to go with it and see how we get along. And look, if I make a mistake, what that means is that you don't have to. So I think hopefully maybe that's the right way to look at it. So let's just drop that in there. Hopefully that's glued itself in. We'll know soon enough when one of them falls out. But there we are. So I've just gone into the corners very gently there. Going to have to use new glue at some stage, aren't I? So there we are, look. Okay, so we'll just hold them in, leave them there for now, and put our quick setting away. The next thing to do is to look at these are mirrors here. We'll just zero in on that. You can see these little sections here are mirrors that we'll need to essentially, they go in to this little tweaker here like that. We'll zero in because it's lots of tiny parts here. I'm going to have to try and make sure that I keep this well on camera. Let's see if we can give it a little bit more light. In 1 second, I'll just adjust the light here. That's a little better. So this section here is D39, this little section here, and I've already glued that on, and my attempt has been to make this vertical with respect to, parallel with this line here. Hopefully then that means that this bar here that we're going to put on comes out the right way. Now I'm going to assume, and I think I'm right in thinking, that the mirrors should face backwards, so one can look out of this window and see rearwards, which will mean that this goes in here like that. So we can, there are a couple of slots to accept that, so I can look to insert that in there and then let that dry. I'll put the next one in and then we can start to put the mirrors on, because they have to go on in a certain way as well. So what we'll do is we'll get the extra thin out. And this is my new jar of extra thin. I think the last ones lasted 4 years, which I suppose isn't too bad really. So give it a quick dab of the old extra thin there. Just let that hold on for a minute and make sure that's all angled with respect to everything here. That looks okay. There we go. So we'll put that down there a second and then go and do the same with this one here. and make sure that these pips, there's a pip sticking out, and then one that with a pip on the mirror, so we can do the same thing. So we can now hold that there like that, and then just apply our glue into that joint there. I was slightly off camera then, wasn't I? But there we go. I'm sorry about this. I haven't been at the camera for a while, and I hope that you haven't missed me. I don't suppose you have. You've probably had lots of other things to do, including your own projects, and who can blame you, for goodness sake, you know. So let's just make sure we're right on that. So then next trick will be these little things here. These are mirrors. There we go, you can see them, and one has a receptacle hole there, and that goes into the outer section, so we can drop that in. What I propose to do with that is I'll just anoint that hole with a little bit of extra thin like that, and then drop that essentially straight on. Oh, hello. No, I'll drop it on the ground and then we'll try again. Oh dear, this isn't going well, is it? I know I was complimented on one occasion by someone who said how well I manipulated all these tiny parts, but I clearly haven't done that particularly well this time, have I? So there we go. As the glue gets tacky, this sort of stuff becomes much more easy. So that's that one. That looks like that. The other one is this little Johnson here. So what we'll do with that is I will use the tweezers, but I'm going to anoint the little hole there that you can hopefully see. There you go. And then hopefully, with any luck, tweeze that onto its receptacle. So I'm hopeful that that has worked all right. You see the glue's a bit tacky, so that helps us here just a little bit. Let's see if we can make sure that happens properly. Everything's a bit of a blur to me unless I use the magnifier, which I'm not doing. So there we go, and those fit side by side like that. So we've, as you can see, we've moved that section there, so we'll just shift that back, and we can leave that. Oh bloody hell. Not drop it, but leave it, I think, is probably the thing to do. How much is it? I think it's only 25p for a bloody, isn't it? So there we go. So let's put that down over there, and we can pick this one up and do the same thing with it. And again, a little bit of glue on that little hole there, and we can drop that into its receptacle. We feel as that goes in, even if we can't see it properly, we can still feel it. And there's that done. And then we can then, let's tell you what, put that on my finger like that so it's ready, and then I can drop a little bit of glue into that hole there, and then that's not really the right way round, is it? So what we can do is, it's a bit shady. My lighting is not particularly good today, so what we can then is drop that, and then wander that into its little hole there. Because the glue's a bit tacky, that helps us again, and we can just position that, and we can just angle that mirror in a little bit, can't we? Because then things look a little bit more realistic, in the sense of that mirror would have to be at a sharper angle because it's the right hand door. because the driver's on the left hand side, so he's looking from here through out to that way, so this mirror can be at a slightly lesser angle but facing in. There you go. So that's those two things done. The next things are these little Johnsons here, which go on the inside of the doors. So what I'll do is I'll pick that one up and see if we can get the right one of these to go in. There are little slots there, as you can see. I've had to cover up the markings. What are they called? They're called everybody's shouting at me in modelling land now, telling me what they are, and I can't damn well remember. They're called they're the markings that the pressing out of the sprue frame takes, you know, when you demold when you remove the thing from the mould. Ejector pin markings. God, I took a time to remember that, didn't it? So I've just used soluble cement for that. That's easy enough. You know, sorry, soluble putty for that. That's easy enough to do. So I can just give that a quick dose of extra thin. There we go. I'm embarrassed not to have been able to remember that simple name. There's a bit more glue in there, and we'll just press that down with a tweezer, and then we'll have done the inside of that. So I'm going to keep one of these doors open, probably this one, I would say, so that one can have a look inside. So that's the driver's side door. So as you can see, so I'm going to keep that door open, and the other one will be shut. So I can pay, shall we say, slightly less attention to the other one. Is that the right way around? That doesn't feel like it's the right way round. No, it is. Yeah, there we go. We are right. There we are. So it goes in that way. There we go. That's slotted itself into its position. These things slot in quite easily, actually, even though they're fairly small parts. So we can just let that tack up and dry. Oh, there's a lot of glue on that, and we'll just poke a bit of glue in there and just bear some pressure on that for a few seconds. We can leave these for a few hours to dry off then, and everything will be fine when it comes to putting these in. So let those sit there. So that's those two. So we have to do the same thing with the windows on A6, make two of these, and remember we can put these in only one way. So I'll put that away and drop that on there, and put our other window in, knowing of course that if it's the right way round it won't stand proud of this little section, this raised section here. I'm assuming that these are armour plated glass, so they're quite thick and they could withstand probably some fairly heavy caliber shells hitting them. But we'll put that away and use the extra thin. Now I know some people use extra thin on their clear parts. I've always used the extra thin quick setting. I think it seems to, there's less chance of it causing problems with you know, crazy paving, shall we say, over the sensitive, you know, see-through parts, transparent parts, so that's the way I've gone. Put that back down there, just over there, out the way. And the next thing I just need to do is to pull off the A12 part, A12 and A13, which are here. So we'll just cut them out quickly and cut them slightly away. Put that down there. you see that's got a sprue nib on it, so we'll cut that away, put our sprue away there. So I'm going to have a look underneath the magnifier for a minute, so I'll zero out on this one for a second. Have I got light under there? Don't know whether I have or not. Ah, the lights, the batteries run out on this, so we'll have to just do this by according to Hoyle. So I'll just move that away so we can just see underneath here. But it does allow me to be able to see what's going on here, so I can cut away those nibs that are there. Make sure I get that right. There we go. I need to charge that battery tonight. So I'll just put that light down there, just angle it in that way. That gives us some light to look at, doesn't it? Now for these sprue nibs I use this glass file. They're very, very good, these. We've got a sprue gate ejector pin mark there we need to take off. It's one of the things you do find with these Ryefield models here, that these little moulding defects occur, but they're not defects in the sense that they detract from the model, because you can see they're in places where it's not going to get in our way. So we'll just file away that sprue nib there. Now these are very good because I've said before, you can file away from straight edges very easily, and you hear the noise of your file taking off the matter. Let's just zero in on this a bit so that you can see this happening. You can see the file taking away the matter and you can hear it, and once you get down to a smooth, flat, uniform surface, the noise goes away. So let's see if we can hear this. We may or may not be able to, but I'll stop jabbering. So we've got rid of that surface there, and that has meant that it's now completely smooth, and we can run a Mark 1 fingernail over that and it's absolutely smooth and silky. We can do the same here, and we can just use our flat surface as our guide, and once again just need to get that surface there, so that's slightly off, so that's fine. There we go. We do the same thing with this one. There, you could hear that sound changing. And the same thing there. So they're now done and ready. So now we just need to look at the right side of door around. That sits in there like that, it would appear. Make sure we've so yes, this stands proud, so we need to take this off here. Now you've got a couple of choices. You can use a knife like this, or we can use a rotary tool if we want to. I don't, you know, with small parts I don't favour using the knife because of the chances of you running into your finger, and you can see that so this isn't the safest way of doing this. So what we do have is another alternative, which is this little Johnson here. So I'll just zero out and show you this. You've seen me use this before. I'll just take that off and put the flat tool on. So this is just a, let's zero in, you can see this very easily. There we go, just a flat tool, and we can rotate it at 5,000 RPM, and then what we can do is we can hold the end of the tool like this, and we can then balance the end of the tool onto the rim of the tool. You can see what I'm doing there, and then I've got complete purchase, and I can control the head of the tool very easily and move it in very small ways, but very, very precisely. What I'm also doing, as you can see here, is balancing the tool on the end of my crook of my thumb as well, so I can move the work away, so I don't go through this, because if you were to press hard, it would be very easy to go through this. So what we can then do is we've then removed that surface completely, so I can do the same thing. I'll just go back to this one and do the same thing, and there we are. So that's that done. So we can turn that off, take the tool out, give it a bit of a clean. There we go. You don't want to undo that too much, that chuck. So this is a chuck for straight shank tools, so you can use these kind of little drills here, those micro drills, and actually I got these from NE's. These are 0.3mm drill bits because I seem to be fond of breaking them, but as you can see, these are all the same. These are specifically designed to be used in high-speed tools, which is why, just like these ones that you buy for a few quid, and I'm convinced that actually that's what the position is, because I rotate that tool at something in the region of 5,000 RPM, and we then have a situation where we can use those drill bits, and they don't simply cut their own thread and act like a screw, and in a sense they just go straight through like this. They drip down through the work, and you can control the rate at which they go through the work, which is what I would suggest you really do want to do. So we've got some holes to be able to mount this on, and some pins. Just want to make sure I get these right both ways round, and I think if I just drop that back a tad, yeah, see that, that clicked into position there. So there we go. We can now just glue them in, and we'll be there. And hold that for a second. Oh, it's come away. It's the first thing it did, was come away. That's not, there we go. I hope I haven't got any glue marks on this. See, that's not glued in. I don't quite know what's happened there. Just apply a little bit of pressure to that for a second. There we go, that's that one. I can just hold on to this one because I've positioned it earlier on, and just glue it in there, along there, and in the back of that little section there, and up the top, and hold it for a second or two, and we'll be there. So, right, hold them, let them carry on a minute, and zero out. Do the housekeeping quickly, get all the oddments out of the way and the glue before we throw it all over the place. Anybody that's done that before knows how annoying that is. And just clear away all those other extraneous bits and pieces, and files and pokers and pointers and goodness only knows what. And then we can take a look at this. This is very good actually, because on this model, this section, which is quite delicate, as you can see, it's even got the little claxons there on the front, which, yeah, they look in the right order. Are you know, this is very delicate, but the detail's rather lovely. You know, you can see that the moulding has been done really very nicely indeed. I mean, look at the detail on that. It's absolutely super, isn't it? So we've got some things to put in there, into which are D23 and A20, and then we have to put the doors on, and we can put them on in an open or closed position, and then we're going to have to add in some other detail there. But first of all, let's get this sprue section off here. So what I'm going to do is to cut slightly away from the body, and then I can ditch that, get the old glass file out and file away. Still not quite there. There you go. Hear the sound change as we got to level with the surface, and we got no marking at all there, no legend to deal with. So that's that. Chuck that out. Yeah, there's a little box it came in, so we've got a little spare box to put goo jaws in of some description. We now want A20, so sprue A part 20, which is that little Johnson there. So once again, I'll zero in a little bit. We've got a number of sprue connection points here that we have to carefully cut away, and one at the end there. I hope you saw that, but there we are. So we can now, let's move that little wire out of the way and just zero out a little bit and find our glass file and take these sections off, which we can do very easily. I believe there's a 1/35 scale model of this particular Hummer that you can make, and in terms of paintwork, by the way, I'd been delayed slightly in carrying on with this because I couldn't really work out what colours to use and what paints to use, and I've settled on MRAP or Mr. P or MRP, depending upon your preference. I think I shall call it MRAP, but that's what I've settled on for it. I think that would be the right one, and oh, look at that, it just fits right in. That's bloody marvellous. That just slots straight in there, minimum of preparation, and they're coming along to me in a little bit, and I know some people like MRP, and there's no reason why they wouldn't. I certainly used it for my 1/48 Corsair, which turned out quite nicely. I liked the colour of the paint they had. It went on out of the airbrush really easily, so there was no reason for me to be anything other than entirely satisfied with it. So I thought, well, damn it, I'll have another go with that stuff. So we've got D23 to put in now. De-sprue parts, and 23 is this little tiny Johnson down here. So we've done up the glue so we can't damage it with there we go. Take that, and I'm just going to bring the old magnifier in there so I can see what on earth I'm doing, and we'll go from there. So some of you have been kind enough to say that they've enjoyed the cricket films and so on, and one poor deranged fellow even said I might be quite good at narrating, but oh, that was very kind. That was Tron, and he's not poor or deranged, to be honest with you. So but I'm having a little joke with him. I hope he doesn't mind. So tweezers for this, I think. And I'll just tweeze this part on. I think it goes that way round by the look of things. Yes, it does. Okay, so what we'll do then is make sure we get it the right bloody way round again, and yeah, I had it the right way round to start with, and then oh no, it's that way round, isn't it? Foolish child. So let's just drop that on there, just test it one more time. Yeah, so there we go. So what we'll do is I'll just hold that there, and then a quick dab of the old extra thin into those little two slots there. Do that back up, and then steady ourselves, because if we put our fingers together like that, we can be very precise with our placement. And damn it, I haven't just noticed there are some sprue, you know, ejector pin markings. I wonder if they're going to show. I suspect probably not, and I suspect these in here won't show either, so we may get away with not being able to see them. Don't know. Yeah, you'd have to look quite hard, in particular with these ones at the back where the doors are shut. Yeah, let's try and put the door upside down, shall we? Ah, see what I've done here. I haven't taken those sprue nibs off, so I've got to do that. So let's do that just now. There we go, that's the first one. That was a bit careless, that. I just cut them straight off and then didn't. There you go. Hear the sound disappear when you know you're down to the nib, as it were. And there's another one there. Damn it. So again, as you would expect, the door fits in absolutely perfectly. So what I'm probably going to do is do nearly all of these doors shut, but the driver's side door open. I think it's probably going to be the way I'll go. So I think that's a nice way to go, I think. So what have we got left to do on that little section there is we've got some photo etch to put in here, and they're quite detailed little photo etch bends there. I won't do that today because that will take the video on. We're nearly 40 minutes in at the moment, so we'll have some completion to do next time. I may just do some videoing on this photo etch stuff, and we'll take it from there. But I hope you've had a nice time looking at this today and seeing the progress on all of this. There's some fiddly little bits to put in there, but we achieved them in the end, and hope that was okay for you guys and girls too. So thanks very much for your time. Very nice to see you again if you've come along, and if you visited for the first time and got this far, my goodness me, how did you manage that? Well done. So I shall say thanks very much and see you on the next one. Take care for now. Bye bye.